All right, so we are ready to go. We'll go a little longer since I owe you 7 minutes. Okay, so we are here. The last halacha that we did. All right, I will unmute. Let's just go with Kata. Kat, unmute yourself, and reread the last.
I am muted.
Now, all right. So what do you got? What was the last halacha? This tet and mevarchin on netila kodem and netila.
Yeah, we didn't do that yet.
We didn't do tet.
We didn't do tet yet.
Okay. So I'm going to start with tet today. Here you go. Everybody can hear me. Can you guys give me a thumbs up? All right.
Rabbi.
Yes.
How are we going to finish everything?
You guys are able to be quiet and not ask me dumb questions, we'll finish everything. How does that sound?
Okay.
All right, no. So let's go. All right, tet. En mevarachin al hanetila kodem hanetila. So this is important. You don't say the beracha of netilat yadayim before washing. Okay? Meaning, tet is telling you what is the order. The way that I would write it, it would be what is the process of netilat yadayim? Right? You would say, so what is the process of netilat yadayim? So the process is you first wash the hands and then you make the beracha. Okay? Now, why is that a chidush? Right? Why is that something that needs to be told? So the reason is we have the concept of what we call, I keep hearing Ronnie's voice in my head telling me to use the text box. We use the text box. Okay, text box says, right, we have something called Ober Le'asiyatan in Hebrew, okay? Over Le'asiyatan means right away after you do the action, right after you say the beracha, you have to do the action. So the rabbis are questioning, we would have a question, we'd say, wait a second, if I told you to eat an apple, you say borei pri ha'etz, and then what do? Then you eat the apple. So here, what would be the action of washing your hands? The action of washing your hands is pouring water on your hands. So you would think, fill up the cup, say the blessing, and then do what? Pour the water over your hands. However, we don't do that. We wash our hands, then we dry. Then we say the beracha, and then we dry. Why? Mishum, I'm reading, Mishum shepe'amim en yadav nekiyot ve'en levarech beyadayim she'enam nekiyot. The water that's left on your hands, if you were to say the beracha and then dump the water on your hands are dirty. So what we want to do is clean the hands off, say the beracha, and then dry them. So the final action of washing your hands is the drying of the hands and not the pouring of the water. Okay? So bottom line is what this halacha is telling us in tet is, when do we say the blessing on netilat yadayim? The answer is after we wash, but before we dry. After we wash, but before we dry. Okay, we good? Give me a virtual thumbs up, guys. I know I scared you with the stupid question comment. Okay, good. I'm going with Kata. Kata's video's on. She's giving me the thumbs up. Albert Saf, Joey, good. Okay. The end part of tet is not so necessary because this talks about pouring on your hands at one time more than it if you eat, right? All that tells me is that if I pour a lot of water on my hands, I don't need to actually dry my hands because when you pour so much water, the dirt is for sure off, okay? And he just says, "V'nimtza she'im yavarech achar netila lo hashiv kevarech over la'asiyatan im kol zeh pshat minhag levarech achar netila v'lo kodem." Because you could say, according to the opinion Maran, that says spill a lot of water on your hands and then you won't have to dry anything off. So this wouldn't apply. But still, even so, we still only make netilah, the beracha of netilah yadayim, after we wash the hands, but before we dry. And the drying is the final action. Okay, moving on. Now we are up to Yod. I drew the arrow. Mishenata yadav kadat laseuda. Person who made netilah yadayim kadat means correctly for the meal. V'lo birech alehem kodem haniguv. But what did he do? He didn't make the beracha before he dried. Lo yavarech har haniguv. Once the action is done, you don't make the beracha. Okay? So law number one that Yod is saying is, let's say I forgot to say the beracha, and you're past already drying the hands, do not say the beracha afterwards. Ashkenazim are different. You have to know that, I'm just telling you. Ashkenazim, they will even say the beracha after the action is done. We don't do that. Sephardim, once the action is done, it's done. And you don't say a beracha. Okay, again, the only blessing that's from the Torah is Birkat HaMazon. That's the one exception. Here, we're only this beracha, once you finished it, okay, you did the right thing, you washed your hands, but you missed out on the beracha. Mark Shalom, what's up?
And Rabbi, isn't there another opinion that that when you dirty your hands again, so you can wash it again?
So that's the Ben Ish Chai. Havovadia, this great job, Mark. That's the next thing in Yod, since you brought it. It says, "V'gam lo yahakech berosho o yiga b'mekomot mechusim shebegufo kedei sheitchayev netilah acheret." Don't do that. Exactly what Mark said, right? The Ben Ish Chai says that you can do that. Havovadia Yosef disagrees with the Ben Ish Chai. So look, if a person does that, we're not going to say anything, but the way I'm teaching you the halakha is based on Chacham Ovadia Yosef. And he says, don't intentionally go like this. Look, I'm itching my hands I'm fake doing it. Look, I'm doing it with my kippah in the back. But don't go like this and itch your head very hard to make you have to then wash your hands again. Don't do that. Because it may be what's called a beracha she'ena tzricha. Beracha she'ena tzricha, and we're very careful not to do beracha she'ena tzricha. Beracha she'ena tzricha means blessing that is not needed. Okay, there's a very big difference between beracha levatala and beracha she'ena tzricha. Beracha she'ena tzricha means it's not needed. You did it already, or you did the action. The beracha itself is appropriate, but in this case, it's not needed. Beracha levatala means it never applied, not even in the beginning. Okay?
Wait, so Rabbi.
Let's summarize. One second. Let's summarize. In Halacha Yod, you have two laws. Law number one, anybody who already made the netilah and the drying, you don't go back and say another beracha. That's Halacha number one. Halacha number two in Yod is, and in that case where you already finished the action, don't re-dirty your hands on purpose to make the beracha. Why? Because that could be a beracha she'ena tzricha. What's a beracha she'ena tzricha? Blessing that is not needed. Okay, so let's go with, I think it's Joey Yazrak.
No, Rabbi, I got it now.
Joey, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, anybody else with a question? Okay, good. We are moving on. I erased the notes.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah, Esty, what do you got?
You said anybody who already made the netilah and drying, you don't go back and what?
You don't go back and make your hands dirty again in order to say netilah with the blessing.
Okay.
You might have thought, because the whole reason why you do netilat yadayim, Esty, for bread is so that you have clean hands, right?
Yeah.
Here in this case, when I washed my hands already, and my hands are clean, correct?
Yeah.
What did I do? The only thing that happened was that I messed up and I didn't say the beracha and I dried my hands already, right?
Okay.
So now you might have thought, what's a good solution? Like Mark quoted, the Ben Ish Chai says this. I have a good solution. Make my hands dirty again on purpose, and I'll just rewash with the beracha, so I can say the beracha. We're saying don't do that, because once your hands are clean, don't purposely make your hands dirty to say it, just to say the blessing, because that's not considered. That's considered a beracha levatala, a beracha she'ena tzricha.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
All right, now we're up to Yod Aleph. Okay, Yod Aleph. En hafsik b'dibur ben hanetila leniguv. Person should not stop and talk in between when you made the netila and the drying. Okay, netila is the pouring of the water, and the niguv is the drying. So we don't speak. Halakha number 1 in Yod Aleph is we do not speak in between the washing and the drying. However, mikol makom, halakha number 2, im hifsik b'dibur kodem haniguv, kodem sheyevarech, eno tzarich lachzor v'litol yadav, ela v'yevarech v'yenagev. If a person did talk before he did the drying, then you still do not need to go back and rewash. Rather, just make the beracha and then dry your hands. Okay? So, even though the correct way is never to talk in between the washing and the drying, okay? If you do, you do not need to say another beracha. Okay? That's halakha number 2. Okay, so halakha number 1 in Yod Aleph, don't talk in between. Halakha number 2, if you did talk in between, again, the washing and the drying, then you do not go back and say another beracha. Good? Are you guys good? Good? Just give me virtual thumbs ups. Thumbs up. Okay. Good. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to shut the baby monitor.
Can you bring him?
No. Okay, we're back. Sorry. Okay. Now, any questions on Yod Aleph? Are we good? All right, looks like we're good.
Why'd we skip Yud Bet and Yud Gimel?
What's in between the brackets?
In between the brackets is just something. It says V'gam lo yenagev yadav. Also, you don't have to do the same thing that we said in Yod, which was don't make your hands dirty again in order to do it. He just puts the same thing in there. So we said it already. It's repetitious. So
okay.
Who's talking? I just can't see.
Ronnie?
What's up, Ronnie? Okay, good. All right. So again, and then whatever we made this booklet. We cut out laws that we didn't think were essential. All right, Carol?
Yeah.
Good? Okay. Next, Yod Daled. Okay, so Yod Daled gives us another instruction as to how to do Netilat Yadayim. Okay, Yagbiha Yadav V'yevarech. Yagbiha means to lift up, or literally to raise. Okay, so Yagbiha means you raise your hands, right? You raise your hands after you wash them. So I wash, I raise my hands, right? And that's when I say the beracha, and then I dry them. Okay? So halakha number 1 is I raise the hands up. There are 2 reasons why you raise the hands up. Excuse me. One reason is you don't want the drops of water that got at the end of your wrist, right? Because your arm is tameh, same thing as your hands. So wherever the water line reaches on the wrist, those droplets on the edge touched a place that was not holy. So if you hold your hands down, the water is going to drip back onto your hand and be tameh. So we pour and we quickly go like this so that the water drips down away from our hands. Okay, that's correct, Natalie. We did. And the second reason is it's symbolic to show that you want Hashem to rain down goodness on you. So we have open hands at the time of Netilat Yadayim, just like Poteach et Yadecha. You don't need to know that for the test, but while we're doing the topic, I think it's important. Okay.
Well, I have a question.
So, yeah, sorry, who's talking?
Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa, what's going on? What's the question?
Wait, so you hold your hands up so the droplets of water. I don't understand that part.
You're holding your hands up. Let's say, are you looking at my screen or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you see me, right, so now I wash my hands, right?
Mhm.
If I hold my hands down, water that touched my wrist, where I didn't pour water on, it's still dirty. Understand? Or like tameh. So if I
Okay.
hold my arm down, this droplet that touched the tameh part up my arm is now going to drip back down where?
To your hand.
Onto my hand where I just purified. So I hold it straight, I go like this, and then I automatically go bam and up. So these droplets go further down and don't touch my hand.
Okay.
Okay? Put yourself on mute, please. All right, there you go, Vanessa. Good question. Okay. All right, let's see. Helene, we will try. Let's see. I don't think it's really Helene. Let's see. All right, let's go back to. Let's go back. Sorry. All right. So halakha number 1 is that, right? That a person has to hold their hands up. Halakha number 2 in your dalit is you have to draw your hands. Yinagev koden shibatsa al hapat. Yibatsaya al hapat. So you have to draw your hands before you break the bread. Yibatsa means, or yibatsaya, sorry, means to break the bread. If anybody eats bread with the wet hands, it's like they ate impure bread. So let's skip the bread part. Halakha number 2 that you need to know here is, so halakha number 1 in your dalit is raise your hands and then say the blessing. Halakha number 2 is draw your hands before you touch the bread. Halakha number 3 is be careful to make the beracha before you start to dry. Some people, they start to dry and then they're like, Baruch atah Hashem. No, you have to say the beracha and then dry. Okay?
Repeat number 2 and 3 again.
Okay. Number 2 is dry your hands before you touch the bread to eat it. Number 3 is be careful that you start saying the blessing before you start drying, meaning say the blessing, then dry. Don't say the blessing while you're dry. Don't say the blessing while you're drying. Okay? You know?
Yes.
Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, the next part I don't need because again, it's talking about if you pour big parts of a big pour of water, like we mentioned above, what it meant that you didn't need to dry your hands. Regardless, our custom is always to dry the hands, no matter what, even if you poured a lot of water on it. Okay, you don't need to know that part for the quiz, but just in case anybody's going to ask me what's the last line. Okay, any questions on those 3 halachot on your dalid? Okay, looking good. Next we have tet vav. מותר לנגב הידיים במכשיר לניגוב ידיים הפועל על ידי הזרמת אוויר חם על גבי הידיים, והוא הדין בניגוב הידיים על ידי השמש וכדומה. So 2 laws over here. A person is allowed to dry their hands for netilat yadayim with an air blower, meaning, you know, like those machines that are very loud when you go into, let's say, a theme park or a public area, public restrooms, right, both the Yankee Stadium, They have those air drying machines. So is that allowed, or it has to be a paper? So the answer is that's allowed, and it's also allowed to air dry. That's what it says over here, the shemesh. Ayadeha shemesh means the sun. So that would mean just sitting there and letting the sun do it. So first halacha is an electric air dryer is allowed, and so is regular air drying, just with the sun, just hanging out your hands in the sun. Any questions on that? I don't think there should be, but let's see.
I have one. Are you
What do you got,
allowed
Susie?
to dry it on your clothing?
That's the next halacha. Ready?
Okay, cool.
Here we go, Susie. Ready? Ted Zayin. En lenagev hayadayim b'haluko. You are not allowed to dry your hands on your shirt or your clothing. The reason is a Kabbalistic one. The kasher l'shikeha. Kasher l'shikeha means it will cause you, to forget. Okay? Now, probably, and again, this is a Kabbalistic concept. There are certain things that a person would do. Again, back then, the ancients, they didn't know why, let's say, God forbid, people would have like Alzheimer's or whatever it is. And it still could be that they're right, that it leads to it, so that's why we follow it. We don't, anytime the rabbis say, they say it's kasher l'shikeha, will cause you to forget. So we don't wash our tameh hands onto our clothing.
Forget what?
Forget to make you say the beracha.
It'll make you forget regular things, like have a bad memory.
Oh.
Right? Do you have a bad memory as it is, Mark?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Good. Any questions on that for the time being? Okay. Now let's continue. Now, okay. When we call makom, however, in any event, הנוהגים לנגב בבגדיהם את רסיסי המים שעל גב הידיים קודם הנטילה אין לחוש בזה משום שכחה. Again, it doesn't mean that all water, this last piece means, it doesn't mean that all water is bad for drying your hands. Like let's say you have water from your water bottle and you want to wipe that on your shirt, that's fine. Let's say your hands were wet from washing your hands in the bathroom before, and then you want to also dry the remnants. Resiseh hamayim means the remnants of water that are on your hands. That's fine. That's not a problem of that you're going to forget. But you don't need to write that part. All you're going to write is like what Susie said, the last halacha in this section. Ted Zayin means do not dry your hands on your shirt because it's kasher l'shikecha.
What's shikecha?
Forgetting. Shikecha like lishkoach.
Okay, but what are you forgetting if you dry your hands on your shirt?
Right, I believe I said that before. You're forgetting. You're going to have bad memory. It will cause memory loss. So we said.
Oh.
You understand the Kabbalah likened it to
Oh,
this.
Kabbalah. Okay.
So we said, right. We said. Did you hear me say it in the beginning, Ronnie, or you logged off for a second?
Yeah.
All good.
I had something to take care of.
It's all good. You're the man. Okay. The kasher l'shikecha. So that means, right. So according to the Kabbalah, it's going to cause you to forget, but overall in general. Okay, good. Ronnie, we good? Just give me a virtual thumbs up. I just didn't hear if you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, any questions on Ted Zayin? Esty, I can't tell if your hand is still up from before. You have a question?
Oh, no, it's from before. I'll see you then.
Okay, I did it. Okay. All right, we are moving on. Let me just erase these notes. Okay, the next section is which type of vessel, the ezekeli notlin. Okay, which vessel do we make the netilah with? Okay, and how should how should a person use the water in order to make netilah? So let's go with Aleph. Ready? Aleph. Lo yiten hamayim lechavero b'chofnav she'en notlin yadayim ela bekeli. Right? Do not just give the water to your friend, meaning and pour it out of your hands onto them, because the water from hands doesn't work. It has to be in a vessel. So let's go like this. The halakha number 1 is for netilat yadayim to be valid, it must be done with a vessel, with a cup or a kosher bowl. We are going to see exceptions to this, but as a rule, you need to have a vessel. Okay, that's number 1. I'm skipping down because this one's a little bit long and I just want to give you the highlights. Number 2, the cup, right? Sorry, number 2, any cup that has the following character traits is going to be valid for netilat yadayim. Number 1, it can hold the measurement of a revi'it of water, okay, which I just put over here, right? And that is 3.3 ounces of water equals revi'it, okay? So 3.3 ounces of water is a revi'it. The cup has to be large enough to be able to, it has to hold that amount of water to be kosher for for netilat yadayim. Now, 3.3 ounces is not a lot. I don't know too many cups besides for, how many of you guys have like those little tiny plastic cups to drink the grape juice out of on Friday night? So that cup
doesn't cut it.
Sorry?
That definitely doesn't cut it.
Definitely does not cut it. Exactly. Okay, right? That's the only example of a cup that I've seen used that can't work. Most other cups are going to be valid and are going to work. 3.3 ounces is not a lot. Your standard plastic cup is about 7 ounces. So half of that is going to still be 3.3. Okay, that's number 1. Halakha number 1 is it has to be with a vessel. Halakha number 2 is the vessel has to have the following character traits. Character trait number 1 is it's got to hold 3.3 ounces. Character trait number 2 is that it cannot have a hole on the bottom. Okay, it can't have a hole where it will cause the water to leak out, and then you'll have less than 3.3. So obviously, a hole on the bottom means it's 0. It can't hold anything. If it has a hole towards the top, above
Would
the
a sink work as a vessel?
How are you gonna rip out the sink and pour the water onto your hands?
It's just, you could turn the sink on and off again to make it look like you're
No.
pouring.
The faucet, you mean, so I couldn't tell the question. If you mean the faucet, we're going to get to that, the faucet. If a person does not have a vessel, then we're going to see that could be used. But let's wait till we get there, but good point, Ronnie. All right? So the next thing is...
that was number 3. That was the third reason.
No, so the second one is that it can't have a hole. I'm up to number 3 now.
Okay.
Yeah. Palachi, you got that or no?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then, sorry. Okay. And then, then it has to have the shape of a vessel. It has to have a sturdy shape. Because in halakha bet, which we're going to see, like, could a plastic bag be a cup for netilat yadayim? Technically, it's a vessel, right? It holds something. The fact that the bag is made from a material that takes the shape of the water, and it doesn't stand by itself, it's not valid. It could be a plastic cup, is fine for netilah. It could be a clay cup. It could be a styrofoam cup. All those cups are good because they stand by themselves. But a bag is not going to be good. Okay? So put that in the halakha, because Aleph and Bet maybe we'll do together, because I realized I just crossed into it. Okay, good. Any questions?
That was Aleph and Bet. You don't even have to do Bet.
No, I'm gonna have to do Bet, but it's just put whatever I just said. Put it as Aleph. I'm not gonna repeat something that I just said in Aleph is a repeat in Bet. I'm not gonna repeat it, but we're gonna have to do one new halakha in Bet. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So no questions on that. Let's move on to Bet. So Bet, the bottom of Bet talks about the plastic bag from here. Right, from here to the end, that talks about the plastic. It talks about the plastic bag. The first halakha in Bet, which is the one that you need for Bet, is im en sham keli lenetilah. Let's say you have no vessel for netilah, only a bakbuk shapir sar. Right, you have a bottle that has a very narrow lip. Does everybody see the bottle of my seltzer, which I like? Everybody can see. Can everybody see? So the top part of it is very narrow. You see, this is the bottom part, so that means the water comes out of the spout. So the Ashkenazim are very strict. They don't do netilat yadayim from something that has a spout. But us as Sephardim, we can. So let's give a very practical example. The practical example is that let's say a person is, having bagels with the family, right? I got bagels with the family, and now, you want to wash on the bagels, but now I don't have water. So what do? You buy the family buys a bottle of water to all wash from it. Am I allowed to do that? So this halakha says yes. This halakha bet, tells you the beginning is that if you don't have a vessel, meaning you don't have water readily available, only coming out of a bottle like this that has a very narrow spout, you can rely on this and you could be lenient to do netilat yadayim with it. Okay, good? Okay, looks like...
So if you have no vessel, you could rely on a spout, bottle with a spout?
Correct, like this bottle.
Okay, just want to make sure I understood.
Okay. Yes, Carol, you got that? Carol, did you get that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay, so let's erase these notes. Okay, so now we're up to hay.
Why did it skip, Rabbi?
Because, like I said in the beginning, we when we made the booklet, we did some cutting and pasting of halakhot that we didn't feel it was so necessary. We didn't skip in the booklet.
Oh.
It goes hay, and the next one is hay in the booklet. See it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Hey, sarich shehamayim hayordim al yadayim yavo mikoch adam v'lo yavo me'elehem. So it says the water has to come from a person pouring it and not be a flow, meaning like from a river, right? We don't dip our hands in the river for the netilat yadayim for the meal. It has to be with power. So it has to be a person takes it and pours. You don't have to know that part, but I mean, yeah, I guess we can know that part because the next part is the key. Kol kasherim liten amayim al hayadayim. Any type of person is allowed to pour the water. Afilu cheresh, shoteh, and katan. So cheresh is a mute. Shoteh is mentally ill. No, Double L? I don't know why it doesn't look right to me.
That's kind of insulting.
Yeah, so develop that, Ronnie. What do you mean?
It sounds a lot like a drunk person.
1 second.
Shote, drinker.
No, shote. There's mute, right? And then there's a mentally ill person. That's the shote. Shote with a plet. Right? You looked at in my class, right? Shote with a plet. And then you have katan. Katan is a minor. So in the Gemara and in Halacha, these people are usually not able to fulfill the obligation of people who are normally functioning. Okay? So the mute, the mentally ill, or the minor can't fulfill the obligation of of a regular person. But they can, so you might have thought, hey, maybe they can't make netilat yadayim for somebody. They can. Okay?
What they can make it for somebody else?
Correct. Let's say I want to hold I do netilat yadayim for my son every morning. He holds his hands out to the sink and I pour for him. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's say somebody wants to be nice. You're waiting online at a fancy dinner and they already filled up the cup. They say, here, I'll pour the water on your hands for you. Is that good?
Yeah.
Let's say the guy is mentally ill.
It's still allowed.
Good. Let's say he's a little kid.
Still allowed, and it's still allowed.
All right. Let's say he's a Met fan.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. It's like mentally.
Good, Rabbi. We're good.
It's like
Still good.
Still good because it's mentally ill, but it's still.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah, sure, Vanessa.
But if you're mute, you can't say the beracha. So what do you do?
So there, all I need to do is just wash the hands and not say the beracha. Saying the beracha is only from the rabbis. So if I physically, God forbid, can't speak, so then I don't need to just do the action.
Okay.
So you'll miss out on the beracha, but what's the big deal? So I mean, if you can't, Hashem will forgive you if you can't. Good?
Question.
Yeah, who's that? Sorry?
Esty.
Leslie?
Esty.
Esty. What's up, Esty?
What were you saying with the flowing with the water?
So the beginning means the water has to come from the koach of the Adam, from the power of a man. Not a man, a boy, right? But meaning a person. A person has to, when I go like this with a kli, it has a power of a flow. I can't just dip my hands in a bucket of water.
Does that mean a faucet's not good?
I got it.
So we're going to talk about a faucet soon, Albert, okay? Maybe not this class, because we can only we'll squeeze one more halakha in. But we did pretty well today. We already got up to page 5 of 11 on the sheet. And you guys did well. The questions were good, and they were to a minimum. We have 3 more classes I think we should be able to finish. If not, I already finished this with another, I might be having notes for you guys that I might share. So we'll see, okay? But let's, I might not get to that, so let's keep going. All right. Next, so let's do the last halakha for the night. We have Vav. Lechatechila en litol hayadayim al yedei ptichat haberez uzgirato. Oh, yep, it is the next one, Albert. So, lechatechila, in the first place, and Ronnie, you here? Because this is your question, right? A berez is a faucet, okay? The berez is something that, what about that? Is that considered the koach of the person? Right? Berez is a faucet. Esti, you paying attention?
Yeah.
So that's where it came from, the power of the man. So is a faucet the power of the man? So in the first place, you shouldn't use the faucet, okay? Rather, you should wash your hands with the vessel. That's halakha number 1. So halakha number 1 is, in the first place, the faucet is no good. Okay?
Zoom kicked me off, so halakha number 1 is that you can't use a faucet for netilah.
That's all we did. That's all we did.
Okay.
Okay? Lechatechila, though, Carol. Lechatechila in the first place. Okay? Rather, you should do your best. Rather, you have to do it with a vessel. That's halakha number one. Halakha number two, but b'sha'at hadachak. Right? You guys will learn this, and my class already learned this year. Anybody who's here, Natalie, Esty, do you guys remember, even Carol, what's sha'at hadachak?
In
means
times
if
of
you're
doubt,
in a
definitely.
like if you don't know what to do, so you have to just
Read it,
believe.
Esty. Read it, Natalie.
Makom hakom hami.
Read the English. I put it for you.
I like tough times. Yep, tough times.
Okay, sha'at hadachak is tough times. Right? Meaning I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. I have no vessel. I have no bottle of water. The only thing I have is the faucet. Right? So he even tells it to you here in the halakha. He highlights it to you. What's considered tough times? So considered tough times is I don't have the vessel. In parentheses, she'en lo keli lenetila. Right? So if he does it with the faucet, it's called yesh lo al ma she'yismoch. Yesh lo al ma she'yismoch means you have
Something to lean on.
good, something to rely on. Okay, you can rely on it if the only thing you had was a faucet and you went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, turned it on and off, then it would be okay. Now don't be lazy. It means turn it on and off. Not guys, you see them, they leave the faucet running 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? No, the whole thing is that the faucet, your hand, turning it on and off is what's releasing the water. All right, so I know you guys what you were thinking, right? Okay, who's talking?
Sion.
What's up, Sion? What do you got?
What are you relying on?
No, you
So-
have some. You're relying on some opinions that say that that's allowed. Some opinions would say that it's allowed always. We don't follow them. We say you have to use the cup. Now, if you're stuck and there's nothing better to do, so then rely on those opinions that say you can use the faucet.
Okay.
Okay. Albert Saff, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Good, right? But you were waiting for that. Ronnie, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Good. Okay, guys, good job today. Next week, we'll pick it up from Zayin. And again, we're going to keep on rolling. So you guys did great today, okay?
Wait, Rabbi Tawil, I have to fit it on one page.
What?
I have to fit all the notes on only one page.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but like, just today's class is all one page for me.
Natalie,
Because you're
Natalie,
right.
they never tell you how big the page has to be.
Nah, that's not the case, Susie.
No, yeah, they do tell you
Rabbi,
how big
I've
the
been
page
doing
has
the
to
same
be.
thing for 3 years.
Guys, type your notes and make it a font 8, and that's it. Print it out.
Wait, Rabbi, we're allowed to use. But we weren't.
It has to be handwritten.
You're allowed to use handwritten notes.
Yeah, but if it has to be handwritten, how am I typing it?
Oh, you're right. I forgot. I misspoke.
Natalie, you just have to write it really small.
Paper, bring it to school.
Rabbi Tawil knows my handwriting. It's terrible.
You guys should. There was a senior last year, Jason Zolta. The guy can write microscopic.
Oh, that exists.
Yeah, who's that?
Asti.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi. I missed last week's class. Which ones do we do?
I don't know. Kat, do you know which ones we did last week?
I know that we did from page 1 Dalet until page 2 Het.
Page
We
1
went-
solid till page 2 Het. All right, Esty?
We went a lot slower because everyone, quote unquote, was asking stupid questions.
I love it, Kat.
Yeah, but they probably weren't.
Thank you.
They definitely were. All right, guys.
Rabbi. Rabbi.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you.
Okay, thank you.
See you, bro.
Bye.
Rabbi.
Did you read me chat?
Sorry, what did you say, Sion? Say it again.
What I sent you in the chat on over here.
You said you came late. I don't know what you missed. Whatever. We'll try to send out notes later on. But go back. Which halakha did you get from?
I started off at the beginning Be'eze Kelin Netilin by Aleph. Yeah, that.
You missed like 5 laws. So
Yeah.
we'll finish it, and then you'll see. Go try to get the notes from somebody here.
I'll send it to you. I just don't have your thing, like your number, but I don't care to send it to you.
All right. So once so Natalie, you can send to him privately in the chat. Helene, Hachi, Natalie.
I don't know how to send it on the chat.
No. I'm trying to say, can you just send him? Can he send you his email, or you send him your email? Just in the chat. I'll stay on. Send it to him.
This is my email.
All right. Say thank you to Natalie, Sion. She's a top girl.
Thanks, Rabbi.
I love how Saf is laughing at that, Natalie. He's throwing shade at you.
What?
No, he's not throwing shade. He can't throw shade.
Wow.
All right, Sion, bro, do you got it? Natalie Hascore at Gmail?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes or no? Because so I know if you're going to lose the chat. Can you get it or no? I want to make sure you have it.
Okay, so email me and I'll email you back.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Rabbi.
Great. Bye.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Rabbi.
Yes.
Thank you.
My dad has a few choice words about the Mets thing. You want to talk to him?
Tell him that after his house gets refixed, then he can talk to me. So
But that's like 5 months.
Thanksgiving, I will hear him. I know what to say, Albert. That's it, baby. That's it. When he becomes a rabbi, he can throw shade at the Yanks. That's it. Even you love the Yankees. Okay. I'm sure if you had Aaron Judge in fantasy, you'd be loving it. Jackie actually has Aaron Judge. He's loving it. Guy hits a home run every night. And if
you have to love it.
If they weren't such fruitcakes where they had to now Boone is taking them out in the 6th inning and then resting him in a day before. Come on, 60 games. Man up. Man up. The guy's a house. You trying to tell me you think Aaron Judge needs a rest? He doesn't need a rest. He's a beast.
Makes sense. Like 60 games, wear everyone out, they're done.
I'm with you. All right, I'm going to go eat dinner. Yep. Love you, man. Send regards.
Bye.
Take care.